Hello, and welcome back to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the one and only Powerpuff Girls / JoJo's Bizarre Adventure recap and discussion podcast. I'm Raven.
And I'm Alison.
Just a little note today. If you haven't already, it would be super cool if you could leave us a review and subscribe to the podcast. Or if you're watching on YouTube, hit all the buttons and let us know how we're doing. We can really use the feedback, and we'd love to get out to more folks.
If you leave us a review, we might read it on the podcast, like this one from AlleyOop77 back in June. It says, check it out, 5 stars. Wonderful nostalgic pod. Check it out, especially if you are a fan of the original Powerpuff Girls series. So we thank you for leaving a review, and we hope to hear from some more of you.
Yeah.
Okay, jumping into episode 7, Strength. So the old lady with Dio, her name is Enyaba. Dio wants to eliminate the Joestars because they shouldn't be underestimated and to get rid of any fear, I guess he has. And Yaba says she has deployed 7 stand users that they can use to attack at any time and that the Joestars are below Dio. So she had said that she helped Dio discover his stand and how to use it.
Yeah.
The Joestar group is before the giant ship. Then they showed the theme music, and I was wondering why Gramps... Why is Gramps' ass so well defined? Jotaro notices there is no crew on board. Polnareff starts climbing the stairs onto the boat. Jotaro tries to help the girl up, but she leaps into Gramps' arms and sticks out her tongue. So at this point, I get in the lore or whatever that this girl has a name, but so far on the show, she doesn't have a name. They've been with her several days, I'm pretty sure. Why did she not say what her name is? Why are they not asking what her name is? It's ridiculous. They notice all the gauges are running correctly with still no one in sight when the girl notices an orangutan in a cage. They try searching the ship when a hook on a crane impales one of the men through the head, killing him. Gramps orders the men to touch nothing and to stay in cabins below. None of the stand users in the Joestar group notice anything or feel another stand user. Kakyoin sends Hierophant Green to search the ship. The girl wonders if they are cursed or cause disasters. I guess the group she's with. Gramps tells her to stay with the others, but she wanders around the ship a bit. She goes back to the orangutan and he offers her half an apple, and then he lights a cigarette and pulls out a nudie magazine. So she was kind of wondering, how it looked like it was freshly cut. The apple hadn't started to turn brown or anything. How did he get the apple? Some of the sailormen come in and warn her of the ape's strength and tells her to stay with them. Kakyoin says there's no sign of any other humans on board. The sailors try to send out a message or signal, but that equipment doesn't work. The girl decides to take a shower for some reason, and there is a flash of all the sailors in the control room viciously killed. Although I don't think it's ever mentioned again. Mm-hmm. The orangutan opens the shower curtain, baring its fangs, and the girl stands there naked and afraid. Jotaro finds the empty cage. The girl tries to cover herself, and the orangutan crowds her into a corner, then suddenly turns green and tries to attack when Jotaro hits it with the padlocks from its cage. Jotaro starts to employ Star Platinum when a ceiling fan flies loose and impales his shoulder. He notices it's flexible and alive. He suspects the orangutan of being a stand user, but where is the stand? Jotaro was thrown by the orangutan, and Star Platinum collected glass in his fist and punched the ape. The ape then melts into the wall, like Homer into the bushes. The Joestar group is being sucked into the ship, and Jotaro tells them the stand is the freighter itself. So the orangutan has kind of something he's created, the freighter, but sort of. I don't know. He can make his stand turn into a freighter, or the stand can turn into an entire ship. They're confused because non-stand users can't see stands. So, like, apparently the girl and the other sailors and stuff shouldn't be able to see the stand, but everyone could see the boat. Abdul thinks it must use a ton of energy. They are being crushed. The orangutan comes out of the wall dressed as a captain with the dictionary and points to the word strength, which turns out to be the 8th tarot card and the name of its stand. The ape giggled and played with almost like a Rubik's Cube as it thought it had won. Jotaro popped loose a button which drove the ape mad. Star Platinum used Starfinger to shoot the button into the ape's forehead. The ape rips its shirt open to show submission, but Jotaro won't accept its apology, and Star Platinum pummels the crap out of it. The ship starts to warp, and Jotaro says it will sink and that they need to get to their lifeboats. The ship begins to shrink into a rowboat. Now they have to wait to be rescued again. It's been 4 days since they left, and they have 46 days left to get to Egypt, and Yaba tells Dio strength has been defeated, but 6 remain, and one of them is her son. The Joestar group finally makes it to Singapore and are going to stay in a hotel and regroup. So, like, the idea behind the orangutan, for some reason, having such a powerful stand is kind of cool, but then having the orangutan be, like, a creeper was, like, pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, the girl looks very young. Like, she's
probably like early middle school or something, like 11 or 12.
Yeah, she's like really little.
Yeah, I think for me, this is like probably the most uncomfortable episode to watch. I always cringe when I get to it again on rewatch. And that's saying something considering some of the stuff in part 2 with the Nazis.
It's just sort of weird, like, the orangutan, yes, the whole thing is, like, I just don't really want to dwell on it too much, but, I mean, well, also, like, they don't have to have her standing there with her tushy showing the whole time, either.
Yeah.
Like, there's, like, probably 3/4 of the episode she's naked, or half of the episode is probably not 3/4, but the orangutan is very powerful, but like really not able to defend itself super well. Like, I guess not all that clever, maybe. I mean, he did get him with like the ceiling fan, but he just kind of like stood there and was defeated.
Yeah.
Once they figured out it was him rather quickly. And what I was gonna say about the apple and stuff, it's kind of like Jotaro's stand was like bringing him stuff that he wanted, like the radio and I don't know, something to drink or like beer in the jail cell. So I was thinking that's why he was able to have the apple and the cigarette and the nudie magazine, even though he was locked up in the cage. It's kind of similar to Jotaro. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's like these stands have rules, but then there's always one that we come upon where they don't follow the rules. And I mean, this Enyaba lady, again, she doesn't look like a normal human. And she's like, I don't know, like little and troll-like or something. So I'm just like, well, what's this son gonna look like? But
yeah.
And it kind of took them, I don't know. It's like, I don't know if I would trust the Speedwagon Foundation to like book them another ship or whatever. I'm not sure if this part was their fault, but I mean, fuck, get on some camels or something. Like, I don't know. Like, take some horses, go rent. Because, like, yes, I know if you rent a vehicle, and I'm not sure at this time, like, is this the 90s?
It's like 87, I think.
Like, about renting a car and, like, what that would cost. But they're trying to save someone. So even if you can't return the car, you just rent it and keep going. They're probably never going to find you. It's not like they have, you know, like all the cameras that are on everyone right now. It wasn't like that back then. So like you guys could just take it as long as you can keep putting gas in it. You have money to do that. Just keep going. I don't know, because they can't trust anyone. So they need to just be, it's just them as the crew of whatever vehicle they decide to be in, because they can't even trust a boat to be a boat.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I guess someone could be a car or a van or something, but I don't know.
So, my trivia for this is that the orangutan stand user's name is Forever, after the Wu-Tang Clan album Wu-Tang Forever. I don't know why, that's the funniest one so far of, like, the Iraqi picked.
I guess it's funny, like orangutan and Wu-Tang. I don't know.
And then strength in the tarot symbolizes inner calm, courage, control, and patience. It reminds us that true power comes from within and that one can overcome obstacles through patience, gentleness, and compassion instead of using violence or physical strength, which is, I feel like, kind of the opposite of what the orangutan uses it for. The art features a topless young woman stroking a lion's mane and looking serenely at the viewer. Much like the magician, there's an infinity symbol over her head, showing that she has all the tools she needs already within her.
I'm not sure what that has to do with the orangutan.
Yeah, I feel like that is one that doesn't really match, the card doesn't really match the stand, and it always really bugs me because the strength card is like inner strength and not like physical strength or a big ass boat.
I mean, I guess he's maybe not strength, but he kind of had a lot of power to power the giant boat, I guess.
Yeah.
Where it's almost like, I mean,
I'd almost say with like more like the power aspect, I would have been like, this is the Emperor instead of strength. That's probably what card I would have picked for him. But
because he was easy, like I said, to defeat once they figured out what was going on. Like,
yeah,
there wasn't it wasn't one of those big fights back and forth. He was just like pretty much immediately. I mean, he was able to kind of, I guess I didn't really, I mean, they were kind of sucked into the boat and they were kind of stuck. It was almost like quicksand in a way.
Yeah.
And then he had pinned Jotaro and his stand with like pipes or whatever. So he was kind of holding them in a way, but it wasn't really for long.
Well, I think partially the aspect of naming the monkey Forever that kills me is he just took the Forever part of Wu-Tang Forever. It would be like if I named something Forever and I was like, it's after Batman Forever. I think that's why it kills me so much. So our next episode is Devil. So we start off, Polnareff gets yelled at by a cop for littering, but he's like, this trash bag is actually my luggage. And then the cop gets embarrassed and they all laugh at him. Jotaro and co are like, why is Anne, the girl, still with us? She's supposed to meet with her dad in 5 days. Joseph says maybe she doesn't have any money, and then he wants Polnareff to go offer to get her a hotel room, but not to bruise her ego. But then Polnareff's like, hey, freeloader, I heard you're stinking poor. Which embarrasses Anne and annoys Joseph.
I bet Polnareff isn't paying for his room.
Probably not.
And his stuff is in like a garbage bag, so...
Yeah. Like, probably this whole thing is being funded by the Speedwagon Foundation, which is Joseph's. So, he's going to be the one paying for everything.
Not sure I get what you're saying Anne, but they never say that. What her plan was once she got to Singapore. I'm just thinking there's not going to be a dad or something, but anyway.
So they go to get rooms at a hotel and must share double rooms. Joseph and Avdol are rooming and cockewing in Jotaro, which leaves Polnareff and Anne. Anne refuses to room with Polnareff, so Joseph gets them separate rooms. Polnareff goes to his room on the 9th floor and immediately notices something is up because of a creepy doll left in the room. He calls the person hiding in his room a persistent bastard and asks if they come out, and then this guy crawls out of the mini fridge. Polnareff asks the guy his name, and he's like, I'm soul sacrificed, and my stand is the devil. It represents insanity in a fallen twin. He wonders how Polnareff found him out. Polnareff's like, you dumbass, you took all the stuff out of the fridge and didn't bother putting anything back. They summon their stands, and Polnareff hits Soul Sacrifice in the eye, spraying blood on the creepy doll. Soul Sacrifice freaks out about the pain, but also seems delighted by that, and is like, I'm gonna curse you good, and falls off the balcony. Polnareff looks for him on the ground, but he's nowhere to be seen. It is then that Polnareff's ankle is mysteriously injured. Polnareff doesn't remember being injured, so he calls up Joseph and Avdol as he bandages the wound. wound. Avdol is horrified to hear that Polnareff has been attacked by Soul Sacrifice. Polnareff says that Avdol needs to contact Jotaro and Kakyoin, and then Polnareff calls up room service to get proper bandages because he's using his dirty laundry on his wound. Avdol tells Joseph that Soul Sacrifice is a Native American shaman/assassin. He sort of sounds like he could be an interesting foil for Avdol, but we don't really get that. And he's often hired by the Mafia. He is covered with scars from wounds he purposely received so as to use his stand to get revenge for his injuries. Avdol says that Soul Sacrifice's victims look like they've been killed by a curse to ordinary people, and that Polnareff is in grave danger by provoking Soul Sacrifice's stand.
Said he uses the power of vengeance to fully control his stand. I don't know if you said that.
Yeah, no, I don't think I did. Joseph says that none of them should be alone right now and decides to call everyone to his and Avdol's room in 5 minutes. And Polnareff had said he was already gonna come that way too. Polnareff can't find his room key and grumbles about it until he finds it under the middle of the bed. He goes to reach for it, which triggers a trap that forces him up against the bottom of the mattress. He's kind of almost tied there with an extension cord or something. Someone squirts shampoo in his eyes and pulls out a saw and begins cutting off the legs of the mattress frame, trapping him under the bed. There's an evil laugh and room service arrives. Polnareff tries to warn the guy away, but then he gets his face cut off with the saw. The door slams shut behind the room service guy, and a note and a "Do Not Disturb" sign is placed on the door. The murderer drags the faceless corpse around the room, leaving a blood trail. It is revealed to be the creepy doll, and it taunts Polnareff that he can't get him because he can't see him being pinned under the bed. The evil stand attacks Polnareff by stabbing his spear into the mattress. Jotaro and Kakyoin show up to Anne's room to tell her to stay in there and not to open it for any strangers. Polnareff narrowly avoids getting stabbed in the face and head. The doll repeatedly stabs into the bed as Polnareff blindly tries to attack him with Silver Chariot. The moment he stops, however, the enemy stand bites Silver Chariot on the ankle, and then the doll also bites him on the shoulder. Fed up, Polnareff has Silver Chariot pick up the stand with the bedsheet and kind of wrap him up, like you might do for a wild animal or something. Jotaro and Kakyoin arrive at Joseph and Avdol's room, and they explain they left Anne in her room because they're afraid she'd be vulnerable to attack. Joseph complains that Polnareff still isn't there, and it's been way more than the agreed upon 5 minutes, but doesn't do anything to check on Polnareff, which was driving me nuts that they knew he was in danger, but they did nothing to fucking check on him.
Yeah, they should have went his way, because if he encountered that guy, he was still in danger.
Yeah. It was ridiculous, and I was just really pissed at Joseph this episode.
Well, I mean, really Avdol, too.
Yeah.
He's the one that really knew of the danger.
Right.
I could sort of see Joseph, not Gramps, whatever, realizing how bad it was, but...
Yeah. Really, I'm more pissed at him than Avdol just because of how nonchalant about it he was. He's just come on, get over here already. It's been more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, once they noticed he was late, they should have been oh shit.
Yeah.
We better get up there.
But they weren't. The clownery. The doll is trapped in the sheet, and Silver Chariot breaks its spear and tricks the doll into cutting Silver Chariot's hand, which also cuts Polnareff's hand, and somehow it frees him from the trap, I guess cutting into the extension cord as well. Silver Chariot also breaks the mirrors into fragments while he's at it. Polnareff wants to send Silver Chariot under the bed to free him the rest of the way, but the doll starts throwing liquor bottles from the mini-fridge at him, soaking him in alcohol. The doll threatens to bite Polnareff's balls, which creeps Polnareff out. The doll is like, "Hey Polnareff, feel the floor, it's soaked with beer juice and liquor. I'd pee on you if I could make everything even wetter." Then reveals his plans to electrocute Polnareff with a hairdryer. Polnareff says, "You're not the only one who can break stuff," and reveals he broke the mirror on purpose so he could see above the bed in the glass shard's reflection. Silver Chariot skewers the doll through the head and throws it about the room before Polnareff bursts free from under the bed. He throws the doll around some more and asks it about the man with 2 right hands and what his stand is. The doll's like, "Screw that, I'm not telling you. You guys are idiots for always showing off your stand's abilities in public. Of course we know your weaknesses. You got lucky with the mirror." Polnareff taunts the doll, and he jumps at Polnareff with his horrible little teeth, and Polnareff slices him to ribbons with Silver Chariot's foil. There's a scream, and a bathroom attendant goes to check on whoever it was, and we see Soul Sacrifice's sliced up corpse, which was very strangely drawn to me anyways. Polnareff finally makes his way to Joseph and Abdul's room, and Joseph is all impatient with him for not being on time, and Polnareff's like, you gotta be shitting me, dude. Polnareff gets interrogated about a dead boy's body in his room. I wasn't sure if they meant the doll or the room service guy.
I think the room service guy.
And then Soul Sacrifice's body in the bathroom. Polnareff says he has the right to remain silent, which I don't know if that's just an American thing, and Polnareff is French, too. He's not even, like, French-American. He's straight up from France.
Yeah, I don't know the rules in Singapore.
Yeah, and even if those were the rules in France, it wouldn't apply to Singapore either. And then the Speedwagon Foundation comes in, and they help him get out of there. We don't really see how. Joseph says he can use his stand Hermit Purple to divine Dio's intentions, just as Dio is able to divine theirs. Joseph uses Hermit Purple on the hotel TV and gets a scrambled message. It's sort of like an ovilus, if you're familiar with ghost hunting equipment, and it tells him there's a traitor amongst the group. The message claims that the traitor is Cockeween, which Joseph and Abdul think is BS. Dio sees them watching him and makes the TV blow up. Joseph says that there must be a reason for Cockeween to betray them, thinking there must be more to it than his stand revealed. And then we see Cockeween with Jotaro, and he has like a sinister look on his face. And then it says, to be continued.
Yeah, I think they were like outside with the girl in a park or something.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what I think about that, but like both him and Polnareff, like I feel like could be sketch. They're just like with them, but I mean even Abdul in a way. How do we know?
Yeah, I mean, I know Joseph's known him for a little bit, but does he know him as well as like his relatives and stuff?
I mean, really, he doesn't know Jotaro very well.
Yeah.
Isn't that the first time, like, maybe he's ever seen him? I'm not really sure.
I'm not sure either. Though it would be funny if they're like the real villain of this JoJo part is the JoJo himself. That would be wild, though. There would be no way. But it would be wild.
I mean, both these guys were compromised by Dio, so... And I mean, how do we know Abdul isn't, he said he got away, but I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know if they, like, checked him for the flesh blood
or there could be some other reason that they just don't, even if they're not working for Dio, that they just don't like the Joestars or the Speedwagon Foundation or something.
Yeah, I don't know if we ever really get into the 50 years between Battle Tendency and Stardust Crusaders, so we don't really know what Joseph, like, got up to prior to coming to Japan to help out Holly and Jotaro. So for all we know, he could have, like, pissed off someone during that time period.
It could be that maybe Dio is holding Cockeween's family hostage, because he's like another schoolboy or whatever, teenage boy, like...
Yeah.
Why is he just coming along with them, and like, where's his family? And
yeah.
He was on a trip with his family, right?
Yeah, that's how he met Dio.
Egypt, so where's his family? I would think they would be looking for him, first of all.
Yeah.
Because he likely just disappeared.
Yeah. I'm still not totally sure if, like, he met Dio in Egypt and then he dipped back to Japan by himself, or if, like, Dio implanted the flesh bud in his brain and then he went back with his family and then, like, later showed up on Jotaro's school. So, like, how long has he been missing from his family?
Like, how is he keeping in contact with these people? Like, I know there's the flesh bud, but does he just send out messages through it, or... I don't
know. And these last couple of people, we haven't even checked if they have the flesh bud. So we don't even know if they also just went along with it, like the dude whose stand was the tower, or what the hell.
Which one was that?
That was the guy with, like, the bug stand when they were on the plane.
Well, they decided he's just in it because he likes killing people.
Yeah, so I'm just not sure if, like, some of these other stand users that they didn't check for the flesh bud, if maybe they also were.
I mean, I think that the soul sacrifice might have just been paid.
Yeah, because it sounded like he was a mercenary.
I'm not sure how you would entice the orangutan to do that.
Yeah, it's like have some apples and some cigarettes and some Playboys and do this for me, please, orangutan.
I'm not sure how you would figure out that an orangutan has a stand.
Yeah.
Because, like, these other stand users don't have the Joestar birthmark. So I'm kind of under a little confused, and especially if that doll was saying, well, nobody else shows off their stands all the time. So, like, how is he able to locate them?
Yeah.
Are these the only other stand users in the world, or are these just like stand users that are evil?
I'm assuming it's just that they're evil stand users. Or at least, like, people that Dio and Yaba were like, they have useful stands, let's bring them along.
I'm not sure at this point, like, do they have to have a stand? Like, they could just be an assassin.
Yeah.
If you just sneak up on people, if they're sleeping, they can't, or if you, like, poisoned them or gave them something to make them go to, like, put a gas in the air and made them go to sleep, I don't think they could fight back with their stands. So it's like I don't know. I would think it'd almost be better. I know they're trying to keep them from reaching Egypt, but like, why? Like, he could just leave Egypt.
Yeah.
Or they can have them all at Egypt, and that they have to get through all those people before they get to him.
I just think Dio is just so up his own ass that he forgets that you can do things a little more simply and not have to have this elaborate of a scheme.
I mean, I partially blame the old lady.
Yeah.
It sounds like maybe it was more her plan. I'm not sure why he is trusting her, like, what exactly the relationship is.
Yeah.
Does she have a stand? Like, what are they, like, what does she think she's going to get out of it?
Yeah, I mean, she kind of said that she was just doing this because she wants to see what Dio can do or something, but I'm like, what beyond that? And that's such a vague...
Like, is she wanting him to take over the world? Or, I mean, like, was it him when he it might have been the Pillar Men. They were, like, turning into a squirrel and...
Yeah, that was the Pillar Men. That was
I mean,
Pillars.
he could just do that without, like, attacking the Joestars. I mean, I don't think he really attacked Holly. She just gained a stand.
Yeah.
I'm totally sure that was his fault, but they are coming after him because they're saying because he exists.
Yeah.
I don't totally understand that part either.
Somehow him having Jonathan's body and Jonathan's body getting a stand activated it or something.
It just gave them all stands.
Yeah, I just gave it to the whole bloodline, even though I don't think that would be how it would work if you got something after you died and you didn't, like, pass it along while you were alive.
Yeah, like the child within, what's her name?
Arena
Wouldn't have come from him because he didn't have the stand yet when he fathered the child.
Yeah, and then he didn't even end up with Haman either, so...
Like their birthmark or whatever. It's like goofy. It's goofy that it's like a perfect star and stuff. Like,
yeah, it should look a little
in the exact same place. I don't know.
Don't kill me, but I've considered that on my list of tattoo ideas. Something small like that. It's just like a little star.
I guess you have star in your name too.
Yeah,
I guess, but it's just goofy they all have it in the same place. So it sort of I don't know why I'm thinking about it, but like the Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where there's supposed to be a mark in the movie. She's like, that hairy mole, I had that removed.
yeah.
I could see like Holly having it lasered off or something.
Yeah.
It's ugly. She's like, oh, she's too innocent. It looks like a tattoo. I should get taken off.
She's so innocent and weak, and she can't even handle a stand.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, are we going to see any female stand users that actually are, like, formidable? This is ridiculous. I'm not sure, really, that any of these guys are, like, enjoyable. Like, Polnareff's kind of a jerk, too.
Yeah.
And then it's like they introduced Kakyoin, but we don't really know anything about him.
Yeah, I kind of honestly feel like Kakyoin doesn't have that much of a personality. Do not kill me, Kakyoin fans.
Yeah, they kind of told a very short story of how he got the flesh bud, and then they've not really went back to it. They haven't questioned him. I mean, I know they're like traveling, but like while you're traveling, you guys could have a conversation. You're bunking with each other, you could have a conversation. I know you're calling her Anne, but they're not in the show. Why are they not asking what her name is? Like,
yeah, I feel like
they keep having meals together.
Yeah, I feel like any other time, like they're good. They're like, oh, we're gonna have so much exposition here, but like
the background, they'll explain like what the Haman thing is and what it's gonna do, and like the stand thing is and what they're gonna do. But they don't.
Sometimes they'll even have like a spiel about like the history of the place they're at.
Yeah, so it's kind of even hard to guess what could be up with Kakyoin because we know so little.
Yeah.
And I mean, even like, I'm not thinking Polnareff is like making that story up because he is like asking everyone.
Yeah.
About it. So he might be on the up and up. I just don't think Kakyoin has a major reason to come with them other than like, oh, you saved my life. And Holly, I want to marry a girl like her today. But other than that, like,
yeah, that's not like a super strong like motive to want to stick with them.
I'm not sure also why killing Dio is going to end the stand. So they won't have stands anymore? I mean, the Joestars. Because, like, I would think Avdol would still have his. Because his doesn't have to do with, he already had a stand, right?
Right, yeah. He's had a stand since he was born, he said.
It would get rid of the Joestars stands. I don't know.
They really don't explain it well or why it would help get rid of her stand.
And why is it that they can just walk around with it and it's fine? It doesn't sound like they have to sleep or eat extra. So why is it affecting her so badly?
Yeah.
I call BS on that.
Yeah.
Like maybe something else is happening to her, but no, it's probably she's weak.
Yeah, again, like I keep saying, like if she'd had like a medical condition or something, like she had like a enlarged heart or something, and somehow that was messing with her having a stand, like I could see that if it was like for something like that, but instead they're just like, she's too nice to be able to use a stand.
Some of the stands don't really do anything. Like Gramps' is not beating up someone type of stand.
Yeah.
And then the the orangutan, kind of could defend himself with the boat in a way, but it's almost like it just created a giant house for itself.
Yeah.
That provided for him the stuff that he wanted. Wasn't really hurting anyone, I guess, until he was kind of attacked first, in a way. I'm not defending the orangutan.
No, of course not.
But not all of them have, like, fighting stands, I guess.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk the trivia a little bit. Although in the dub his name is localized to Soul Sacrifice, his original name, the name that Araki gave him, was Devo the Cursed, named after the 80s band Devo. And so I kind of wonder if maybe they changed that so completely because they worried maybe Devo and Dio sounded too similar.
Maybe.
So then his stand, of course, is the devil. In tarot, the devil symbolizes addiction, obsession, control, and materialism. So what it kind of said on the description for the card in the Ethereal Visions deck that I have, I said the problems that constrain you are an illusion. The binding is of your own making. It is time to ask yourself what's holding you back, and are you truly helpless to change the situation? So if you're familiar with the Rider-Waite deck, which is like the classic deck, the imagery is sort of the inverse of the Lovers, featuring a couple bound in chains together by a devil, whilst on the Lovers card, the couple's union is watched over by like an angel or something. But the Ethereal Visions deck, the devil is sort of like surrounded by an Ouroboros, and he's watching over the couple. The woman is asleep or passed out on the ground, and the man is like covering his face in like despair or embarrassment. Totally sure why, but that's how it was depicted on there. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap things up here. Thank you so much for listening. And if you can, and if you haven't already, press all those buttons, the like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz, so we can put the podcast out there to more people.
I was just going to say really quick, we didn't really describe the doll, but it was kind of like a creepy Raggedy Ann.
A little.
But a little Chucky thrown in.
Yes, I forgot to mention how Chucky-like that thing was. Except even smaller than Chucky.
We also have another podcast, What We Pod in the Shadows, where we're rewatching and discussing what we do in the shadows.
So if you've enjoyed us talking about like some vampire stuff on here and you want to hear more about vampires, go check out What We Pod in the Shadows, where we're talking about vampires basically.
And if you want to be prepared for next week, we will be discussing the episodes Yellow Temperance and The Emperor and the Hanged Man, Part 1.
So I think that's everything. So I'm just gonna say, until next time, I'll be the roundabout. Goodbye.
Goodbye.